Welcome to Into the Blue, presented by Penelope Bourbon, a weekly look behind the scenes of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Good morning and welcome to the latest edition of Into the Blue. I'm Ben Pierce alongside Julie Stewart-Binks on this wonderful Monday. And ladies and gentlemen, we have officially made it. It is Stadium Series week. And yes. And this podcast, we will talk plenty about the Stadium Series. But first, there are games to be played until we get there, tonight being one of them. The Lightning will play the Utah Mammoth tonight on Monday, and two of the best teams in the NHL so far in the month of January. So we've got a great game tonight. A reminder, this podcast is presented by our good friends at Penelope Bourbon. We do appreciate you guys. Julie, I know everybody's excited for the Stadium Series here on Sunday. This is shaping out to be a great game. The work continues over at Raymond James Stadium. The Boston Bruins, the Tampa Bay Lightning, and after so much work, so much talk, so much planning, the tent is up, and we are officially here. We have made it. It's surreal, I feel like. After so many questions of could they really pull it off, we have officially made it to Stadium Series week.
It is incredible. I mean, obviously you have been here and have been anticipating this quite a lot longer than I have, but I think I'm just so overwhelmed and impressed with the science and chemistry that has gone into making this. First of all, I mean, there's a full like ice rink covered in the middle of Raymond James Stadium right now, which is so weird to see. You're just like, wait, what? It's like a bubble. There's a whole rink there that's obviously being created, still maintained, but the whole tent is up. I'm excited about a lot of things. Okay, listen, like I'm overstimulated for this week. I just was doing a deep dive on Gasparilla last night because, as I've mentioned, I've never experienced it before. So I was like trying to kind of get the timeline of events down because I would like to see it. Because the worst thing is for me to be in Tampa and experience all this stuff and be like, yeah, I missed the whole Gasparilla thing. Be like, wait, what? Where were you?
Did your homework?
Yeah. Like, so doing that, like seeing that, but then also going to the rink and like, there's a lot of things where we got a very like robust schedule coming up. And that includes also Tim McGraw being around, which I'm a fan of his. And so I think like overall, I'm most excited though to see that tent come off of the rink. Like fascination wise, just like how do they do these things? I think is the NHL keeps raising the bar on like when you think something's impossible, it's like, well, maybe we could do this. They're very like Emily in Paris, if anyone watches that show, where it's like Emily is always given some very difficult task and something crazy happens. And she's like, well, what if we just did this? And she comes up with some crazy idea and they're like, brilliant. And so that's what it feels like with this. Like, how are we going to do an outdoor game in Tampa? Well, we'll make a rink and we'll cover it and then we'll take the cover off. It's like, great. Perfect.
Well, I'll admit, I have never seen Emily in Paris, and I'm sure we have listeners that have.
I really thought you had. Sorry about
that. I you know what? I have not, and I'm sure our listeners out there, I will probably get tagged in some posts saying you need to go watch that show. No promises.
Or I'll get tagged being like, Julie, why are you bringing up Emily in Paris on a Lightning broadcast?
But we'll see. But like that was really the conversation this last week. Like we had a couple of media availabilities, and Lightning CEO Steve Griggs mentioned like this. The big reason the Lightning wanted this game was for the fans and the community, and they said like this was about bringing hockey and bringing the fans this game because this community has really embraced this team. And he said like this is a hockey community. Mm-hmm. He said that when our first season here, we had 2,000 season ticket members. That number is in the 15,000s. Like we're in the tens of thousands now. Like you look at what this team's done over the last back-to-back Stanley Cups. They're one of the best teams, perennial playoff teams that has Stanley Cup aspirations every year. We're going to talk about one of the greatest players the NHL has ever seen in short order here, Nikita Kucherov. Victor Hedman is quickly climbing the defense. Andre, you go down the list of John. We just talked last week about John Cooper and what he's done with this team. It's incredible for a team that's supposed to be a quote-unquote non-traditional market, what they've done, right, in Tampa Bay. And even when we got to talk to different people from the NHL over these last couple of weeks, they've said this market, what Tampa has done, what Jeff Vinik has done, what the Lightning organization has done, they earned this opportunity. And I think that a lot of that stems, yes, to the Lightning organization, but none of that happens without the people listening to this podcast, and that's the fans, right? Like, without the fans showing up to the games, buying the jerseys, coming to buying the tickets and supporting the fans and really buying into the game, none of this happens. This game doesn't come to Tampa without the fans saying, hey, I want to watch this game. I want to become a fan of this sport and then really buy in. And the fans have done such an incredible job of that way before either of us were ever in Tampa. Like, this has been decades in the making, and it really is remarkable what the fans here in Tampa have done.
I think you said it completely perfectly in that, and it is a reward for the fans, and I mean, it is just it feels so good to be here and to be around this team. And coming here, I'm walking down the streets, I'm seeing so much Lightning gear always, and anywhere I go in Tampa, and that sometimes scares me because I don't have my hot girl disguise on, and I'm like, I hope nobody like sees me right now, because they'll be like, wow, that's what she actually looks like without like all her makeup on. But like, to a greater point, it's just the fans, they know, they're informed, they're excited, there's just, having worked in so many different markets, like this market is unique, and I think that does come with winning. I've mentioned that before, and there is winning, being perennial winners, being, as you mentioned, always in the conversation, going to 3 straight Stanley Cups, winning 2 of those, is that fan base. First of all, it's like it's warm and cuddly, and like it has been housed in a great way. It has been supported. It has been loved. But it has loved that team back. And I think that's like that symbiotic relationship. Like, the team wouldn't be as good and relevant as it is with also at the fans, right? It's like one of those things. And so, and especially having them there and hearing them. I mean, if I mess up, like, I hear from the fans for sure. And I love that, because that means
join the party. Yep. That's part of it.
It's like, oh, okay, they're watching. They're noticing. Like, that's great. Whenever I mess up and someone like messages me, I'm like, thank you for watching, like, really great to have you here. And so I think that it will be exciting in the sense that, having been to a couple different Stadium Series games, I mean, it's not like a real game, it's an event. And that's what Adam Hall was saying on the broadcast this weekend. And we know that. We've seen this before. We saw it in Nashville. And it's I think what's great is that they did plan it around Gasparilla. So then it's like, you already have this built-in theme, built-in energy, but you do have a lot of people coming here. And I know bachelor parties that are going to be like rolling into town coming up soon. And Pat Maroon was talking about how, like, this week starting for the players, this is going to be their friends and family are, he said, lingering. They'll be around, they'll be going to the games, they'll be asking for tickets, they'll be wanting to go to all these parties. And I think they said, like, the difference was being when they were in Nashville on the road, where you kind of have somewhere to go after like, you kind of are a little bit more in your own bubble as a team. And there's more distractions with this for the players. And that's just something that I'm sure Coop has already obviously addressed with them. And like, it is still a game, still need against an opponent that you need to get points against. But that being said, I think this is one of those games. If there is a game to get distracted by the pomp and circumstance, it's this one. And so I think at the end of the day, they'll be just really excited. Like it's a nice motivator to have during the week, where you're back home, and then it's also the Olympic break, and there's just a lot going on. So I think it'll be a great thing all around. I'm curious to see what the players come up with their outfits on both sides. Like,
they're great, by the way.
What the Bruins do. Oh,
yeah.
Bruins will totally do Patriots.
You think?
Because we're going to a football stadium, right? And the Patriots are going to the Super Bowl. That's just a guess. That's a guess.
Do you think that's too soon? Like, do you think they'd have time to pull that off, though? Like, they didn't know the Patriots were going to the Super Bowl until literally yesterday.
Oh, they can pull it off, honey. Yeah. They have plenty of time to. Whereas
Yeah,
I hope
guess,
that
yeah.
these
I
guys,
suppose they got connections. I guess
I hope
that's
the
fair.
Lightning come dressed as full pirate gear. Like I'm expecting full pirate gear.
We'll
And
see. I'll tell you this much. It's a good fit.
yeah, right. It's a good theme.
That's all I'm
It's a
gonna
good
say. It's a
look.
good fit.
So we're excited
Um,
for it. Yeah.
you know what else is a good fit is Nikita Kucherov once again among the NHL leaders in scoring, and not that surprises anybody, but this guy at the start of the year was a point per game player, and everybody was like, "What's going on?" And which was hilarious, by the way. Like you watch a guy average a point per game, and they're like, "Man, I wish he was scoring more," right?
Yeah.
Because you're just so used to him being a 2 point per game player because he's all world. And all of a sudden, Nikita Kucherov now is scoring 4 points tonight, right? We just saw him have a goal and 3 assists the other night, unfortunately in a loss against Columbus. But Nikita Kucherov is third in NHL scoring currently with 78 points in 45 games. The only players above him, Connor McDavid, 90 points in 53 games. Nathan MacKinnon, 88 points in 50 games. With that said, Nikita Kucherov is stacking the points. Now, we will see if Nikita Kucherov can catch those two for his third straight Art Ross trophy. Would it surprise anybody? Probably not, because once again, Nikita Kucherov is quickly stacking the points. Now, Nikita Kucherov's goal on Saturday was his 383rd goal. That ties him with former Lightning captain Vincent Lecavalier for second most in franchise history, which means if we do see a Nikita Kucherov goal tonight against Utah, he will take that second spot in franchise history behind only Steven Stamkos. Did you ever work with Vincent Lecavalier, Julie?
I never work with him, but I actually just texted him because I would like to get a quote from him about this. So
Okay. But
yeah,
obviously, you've worked with so many different NHL players. You've seen Nikita Kucherov in person. Like, it's crazy to me because everybody wants to talk about the passing. But like when I look at these numbers, to me, what stands out? Vincent Lecavalier was a remarkable player, right? It took him over 1,000 games to hit this mark, 383 goals, which is still like he's a Lightning Hall of Famer, right? He's one of the best players in franchise history. Nikita Kucherov hit this mark in 848 games. And everybody loves to talk about his passing. He's now about to become the second best goal scorer in franchise history.
Right.
Like it's somehow a very underrated part of his game. And I just think we take for granted, I think, the goal scoring because he is now like he's kind of trading with Brandon Hagel for the top goal scorer on this team this year as well. Like we take for granted, I think, the goal scoring ability that Nikita Kucherov has on this team.
Yeah, and I think that he could have even way more goals, right? As you've said, he's like he is sometimes like a lot of the times a pass first guy, but he is looking at the play. It's like the play has to be the play has to work in his head. Like it's a very interesting thing I've sort of gathered from talking with people, but if he had taken the shot on every time he had an open net and didn't pass, right? Like remember there was a goal in it was Dallas. Like he was wide open in front of the net and then he just passes to Brandon Hagel on the side. And it's like, wow, what a way to just completely just nullify another team's defense because they're thinking like, well,
You just
first of
feel
all,
bad
like
for the goalie.
yeah, and also he somehow finds himself open in these random positions where you're just like, wait, how did he get there? Like, holy cow, he just sneaks on by. He's just like, he's just sneak attack type of guy, but he is very underrated. I will say that. And because I don't think the league at large, and I know that this is a conversation that has been consistent across a lot of different Tampa podcasts, but he just doesn't get the credit that he deserves because there's a lot of people I don't know, they're lusting after Connor McDavid, Nathan MacKinnon, all that kind of stuff. And those guys deserve it. But then they have already done so much this current season. But Cooch, my gosh, he has been on like, when you talk about heaters with this team, I mean, he has been consistently on a heater. And that is why if he continues producing the way he is, which I imagine he probably will, because the team has found somewhat of an identity over this time where even despite the bodies coming in and out, they've been able to continually produce offense and continually pin these teams into their own their own zone. And so that I think that, he'll have more offensive zone time, more time with the puck, and then be able to score. And this guy, it's personal for him, right? Like we saw that out there against Chicago, which was such a great moment. Like he was so happy. Like he had like real joy on his face when they're booing him before his shootout goal. And then when he scores and shushes the crowd.
Oh, that meme.
Majestic.
The meme that is going to be used for years. The shush was so good. And and I don't care win, lose, whatever, but to get the win on top of it, so good. So good. You're going to be able to use that one for years, and it's so good when you see the look on his face and you're watching, you're like, of all the players in the league, if you're an opposing fan, why are you poking that guy? Right?
I know.
If you're gonna shush anybody, you wanna like that. That's the guy you want to poke the bear.
Yeah, like the that guy just gives him more power.
That's what
up,
I mean. Some of the best hands in the league, one of the most talented, most deceptive players in the NHL, and the kind of guy that's gonna take it personally. And I again, like one of the things I think you don't necessarily think about with Nikita Kucherov. But when they're flashing his shootout stats on the screen, right? It was an ESPN broadcast. So they're showing like 26% on the broadcast. I'm like, I wouldn't necessarily think that his shootout numbers were that high, right? Because you don't necessarily think of Nikita Kucherov as this like great shootout player. But then he goes down and makes the move, and they're talking about how great his shootout skills are. And you're like, yeah, it makes sense. He's got unbelievable hands.
Right.
You're like, why would you poke the bear? And they do, and that's what you get.
Yeah, the hands, the vision. I just would be curious more so because I haven't been able to talk with him, obviously, even off camera. Just like, I don't know. I don't understand his mindset sometimes because like he gives off, especially in that situation of being, quote unquote, a heel, which I tweeted about because he is a heel in that kind of situation, which a wrestling term, of course, is like the bad guy in a way, the villain, to the rest of the league. But I don't know what he's like as a person when it comes to like, he's clearly an incredible player. He's clearly got very, very high expectations on himself. Like before I will go out and do the interview for the first star, which is, I think since I've been here, which has been 3 home games, he has been the first star. I think each time almost, if I'm not wrong, it might have been Hagel. I think Hagel was last game, but he comes off the ice and he's breaking sticks, and they've won all of these games, and he's like one of the first stars, and it's like
he just wants to win, but he cares. He's got such a high standard. That's like,
but he wants everyone else to do well too. Clearly,
yeah, that's what I mean. He's got the
right?
highest standard. And I think that's what it takes though. Like he talked last season about how like he was so disappointed after the first round exit that somebody asked him what now? Do you take a couple days to reset? And he said, yeah, I'll probably take 1 or 2 days. He said, maybe take the weekend, and then I'll be back skating next week.
Yeah.
And he said, and somebody asked, like, do you take any, like, would you be okay with any of your teammates joining you? And he said, they know where to find me at the rink. Come get out there with me. Like,
so great.
Like, he's just that focused. Like he could score 140 points and the Lightning could win the Stanley Cup. And the next year it's going to be, let's repeat it, and I want 170. Like, it's never going to be enough for him. And that's what it takes, though, right? Like, he's got kind of that, and this is a big comparison, but it is that, like, Michael Jordan-esque
I knew you were
going
to say that. I love
where
that.
Where it is, like, it's never good enough for him. Because he always wants to take that next step.
That's all I needed.
He always wants to take that next step, and that's exactly why he fits in this franchise, because he pushes everybody around him to be better. And
he does have that gene, that kind of like the Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant gene of like it. Yep. There is no the ceiling of greatness is
there's no passengers.
High. There is it's so high. It's always continuous. You'll never be satisfied. Which hopefully in his own life and his own that he finds joy and all that kind of stuff. Blah blah blah. But like in sports, it's never good enough, and that's why you always have a fire lit underneath you every single year, every single game, and that's why after coming off the loss to Columbus, and I know it was kind of like we throw this one away. And I love John Cooper's press conference where it's like, oh yeah, like what? Like we're gonna be fine. But still they'll have a bad taste in their mouth where it's like, okay, that was embarrassing. And even though Cooch tied Vincent Lecavalier second all time in goals and had 3 assists. It's like that doesn't matter because they had their first regulation loss this calendar year. And just want to point out one little thing. Like, this was the first Scripps broadcast since I've been here that I was not rinkside. And that was the first loss I had. So don't put me in studio, really, is what I'm saying. And
there you go.
Get PK back in there.
There you go. Well, unfortunately, along with the loss, we did see some more lineup questions for this team. Last we talked about some lineup questions, and we did knock on wood. It did not help when we said hopefully no more injuries for this team. We saw Max Crozier and Jack Finley both missed that game due to illness, and unfortunately in that game we also saw defenseman Eric Chernak left that game after getting boarded. Charles-Edouard Dastu took an awkward knee-on-knee hit, left that game early. Gage Gonsalves also exited early. We did not see a reason, did not get a reason. Hopefully that was for illness. Coop did say after the game that there's a little bit of an illness going around the team. Forgive me, was that pregame or postgame?
No, he did say there's an illness going around because Crozier was out too.
So, well, and I couldn't remember if it was pregame or postgame that he said it. But so there's an illness going around, so we don't know for sure what's going on with Gage. So hopefully that's an illness. Again, knock on wood, and not an injury. But regardless, a lot of guys missing at the time. Dastu is now on IR after that hit, so he will miss at least the next 2 games. As a result, we saw an NHL debut, which was maybe one positive. Simon Lundmark played 16 minutes, 45 seconds, finished +1, was originally awarded an assist on that wacky own goal. Of course, it was rescinded because you can't get assists on own goals. But he was +1, had 2 blocked shots, and recorded a shot on goal. Pretty good NHL debut for the 25-year-old former second-round pick. And defenseman Max Groshev was recalled on Sunday. So, all of a sudden, this Lightning roster is once again dealing with multiple injuries and question marks. We will see what exactly is going on today. Optional morning skate this morning, Julie. So, I'm sure we won't see many bodies. Like you said, you never know. What the word optional means. Just a season that continues to be unfortunate.
It's like, what? Come on.
In the
like,
man games lost category.
Can't get no respect. Like, come on. What's going on? Everyone's injured all the time, and they're somehow still having to figure out ways to win, which they have. And so, obviously, not the game included last game, but with Simon Lundmark, they finished the game with 4D and over 16 minutes for guy's first game in the NHL. And he even found out, like, just before the game, he said he, found out, and then he texted his family who are in Sweden, and he was like, I'm not even sure if they got the text message because
turn the game on.
like, hey, like, it's 7 o'clock or whatever. He found out probably around like 4:30 or maybe earlier than that. But like, he's texting them like, he's like, I don't know if they got the message. They might have been asleep already or something like that. It would have been funny. Like, hey, I played my first NHL game last night, by the way. And, sometimes that can be better for a guy to just find out that's kind of like a lot of things. Then you're not playing the game in your head ahead of time and kind of ruminating on anything, because it is a big moment and there is a lot of pressure, but he obviously is going to, for the time being, be around. And we know that, as you mentioned, Groshev coming in, a lot of great things had been said about Groshev. We only saw him in that one game before, but the ability, obviously he was, I say obviously a lot. I gotta cut that out because it's not obvious that he was a forward and then transitioned to be a defenseman, which is something that is very difficult. Not a lot of guys have been able to do that. And when I talked with Rob Zettler about that, he said what's different about him being a defenseman as when he was previously a forward is he understands that there's not that much time as a defenseman. Like, a lot of forwards think D-men have a lot of time and that that the game is a bit slower for them, but it's not. It's exactly the same. And so he was like, really like his gap control and being able to be hard on guys, because that's what we would bring as a forward. So we also know, though, that Ryan McDonough will be likely, based on what John Cooper said last week, in one of the games this week. I'm guessing against Winnipeg, but who knows? I mean, depending on
day now, so that's good news.
Yeah, depending on what his like where he is along the road and the needs of the team, see how that goes with this. I imagine not against Utah because they've been really rolling, and you never know with the guy coming back in after being off for a while, but you also need some defensemen. So that's a bit of a tricky one just for the team. But also I would say this illness, man, I'm now thinking like, okay, Julie, like we gotta, if you talk to the guys, like make sure you wash your hands afterward, because like I don't know what's going on in the room. Like just because if everyone's getting sick, like that's not a good thing, right? Like
Yeah. Make it to the Olympic break, right?
just get there.
All right. Well, like we said, hopefully, I'm not even going to say it. And I'm not
Next
even going to
man
knock
up,
on wood.
next man up.
Yes, next man
Always.
up. And they've done a good job this year. Hopefully, they can keep that
If
going.
any team can do it, it's them.
True. And speaking of next man up, you guys listening have been great with our questions as well. Which brings us to our Blue Line segment. You can call in with questions at 813-301-6749, or we also post the questions on social media as well, both on X and Blue Sky. You guys have been great with these questions. We actually got a duplicate question, Julie, and I'm throwing this one to you because I think you're going to have the better answer than me. So we got this question from both Rob Moots and Misha, who want to know from Julie Stewart-Binks, what is the thing you're most excited about for the Stadium Series game?
I'm excited about the pomp and circumstance of it. I'm excited to see what the theme that they lean into. Like, I want to see all the stuff around it. Maybe I mentioned on this podcast, and it's very hard for me to keep track of the different podcasts I've been on recently, / the ones I also do as well from my job. But when I was at the Stadium Series for the Rangers against, who did they play? I don't know. They won. Gosh, last year, 2 years ago, they were in New Jersey and they played the Islanders. Yes. And they won in overtime, Artemi Panarin. And all the people around the rink were paid actors that were like acting as though they were in a garden, like, because they were like the Garden State, that's New Jersey. So it was like they were in a park. And I just didn't. And Ben, correct? Have I told you the story?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I
so
haven't heard paid actors in a garden.
Yeah, so it was so weird. Me and Nikki Latarullo, she works for SNY. I was there for SNY. We were down by the ice, and we asked this guy, like, hey, can you take a picture of us by the rink? And he was like, yeah, let me just put my bike down. And I remember we were like, why does that guy have a bike by like the ice? Like, why is this guy brought a bike in here? And then we looked around, and I started noticing like this woman had a baby stroller, and then she turned it around and there was like a fake baby in it. And I'm like, oh my God. And there's people with like hula hoops and skipping. And also it's like, they're actors. And then I felt like I was in the Truman Show. So I put something up on TikTok or whatever, blew up like millions of views because everyone was just like, wait, these people. And the whole game, Ben, these actors were in character. Like they were running with the hula hoop during the game.
That's a bit much for me.
Losing their mind. I really give a lot of credit to NHL entertainment. They are, as we know, Emily and Paris, they like to think outside of the box. And so that's why I'm curious to see what other things are going to be in and around. And then my biggest thing is like, what am I wearing? Like, I'm like, what am I wearing when I'm going to be interviewing people and interviewing players? And I really wanted to be on the ice.
Are you going to be doing stunts while you're interviewing?
I've got an outfit that I already think is good, but it's not pirate themed, so that's fine. I don't need to be a pirate for this game. It's not about me, and it's not about pirates. It's about a hockey game. And so, but I really wanted to be on the ice, like skating and interviewing the guys. That was like one of my goals. But then, of course, with the rink coming down, the practices will be in there beforehand, and it won't be like, we won't get that little bit. So, I mean, they probably would have said no to me interviewing on the ice anyway. Maybe this is like just an easy way for them to be like, Julie, that's not happening. But yeah, no, I'm super excited to see it. I've been to the Big House with that was my first one, Toronto and Detroit. That was a Winter Classic. Amazing 2014. As I mentioned, I played in like a media game outside at the LA Dodgers. Really fascinating. And then just going to see them in Nashville or the one I just mentioned. And so I've randomly been to a lot of these outdoor games. But the interesting part is that like most people in Florida would never have grown up with outdoor hockey because it's Florida and it's warm here.
That
and
tracks.
Yeah, and unless, hell freezes over, like there is no ice and snow here for you guys to grow up with that on, like doing that.
Hey, there's a chance. They said there's a chance of snow this week. Come on now.
Did they actually say that?
Yes, there was a slight chance of snow for Sunday. They said there was a very slight chance. It sounds like maybe some rain, but
Man, if there was
they did say there was a minuscule chance of snow for Sunday's Stadium Series game. I'm just saying.
It would be suspicious.
It would be. There would maybe be some. Yes, that would be crazy. There would have to be some investigations, I would think.
Yeah. Higher powers that work for the NHL. I'd just be curious.
Absolutely,
like,
that would be
who helped
awesome.
them
That
out
would
in that.
not even planning could have predicted that.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Ben? I would like to know what you're excited about.
Well, I think it's just outdoor hockey. Like you said, I mean, I grew up in Wisconsin where I grew up skating on a pond in my backyard. And we actually, our rink growing up, we used to have, it was an old pole barn. And they used to just pull down the doors and freeze it. And it was a community building that used to just host like graduation parties in the summer. And then in the winter, they would close all the garage doors and freeze it. And the parents would set up the rink every year. And that was our rink in the winter.
That's amazing.
And so, but the thing was in the winter, even when the front door would get locked by the community, there was always one garage door that they was supposed to have a padlock on it, but wouldn't. And so when school would get canceled for snow days, the kids would know which garage door opened to go in and skate. And so we'd always have a free way to get in and open skate. And one of our dads knew how to run the Zamboni, and it was great. So it brings me a lot to those roots. And just
that is
like,
a pretty we talk about the NHL doing some creative things.
Yeah,
up there in Wisconsin.
It takes me back to my childhood. Yeah, I think that's a lot of fun. Which, like, I think back to my childhood. Somebody who has been around for a long time, and I promise, Dave Mishkin, I'm not calling you old. We got a great question, our second question here on the Blue Line segment from Bolts fan Benny, who wants to know how many games has Dave Mishkin called consecutively? It's a lot, by the way. What is the Iron Mish streak up to? Is our second question this week on the Blue Line segment. And the timing of this question could not have been better, Julie, because for our Lightning fans who do not know, tonight is Monday, January 26th, and tonight marks Dave Mishkin's 2,000th NHL game for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Amazing. Snaps.
2,000 NHL games.
Like, step aside, Coop. We got 2,000 over here.
We recognize for 1,000. 2,000 is remarkable. So congrats to Dave Mishkin. It is not 2,000 consecutive because our good friend Steve Versnick told us that he did miss one. I believe it was for a high school graduation. Steve, is that right? Birth of a son. So so that's a valid reason to miss a game. Many years ago. I
feel like that should count as it's still
a valid absence. So it is not consecutive.
A person was born.
But 2,000 games for Dave Mishkin. Congrats to Mish, one of the very best in the game. Our fans here in Tampa absolutely love him. He's one of the best. So thank you very much, Bolts fan Benny, for the question. Great game, or a great name, by the way, Benny. And congrats to Mish. So that brings us
huge
to
congratulations.
It's unreal 2,000. That brings us to our plus minus segment, presented to you by Penelope Bourbon. Before we go talk to John Cooper and see what he has to say, hopefully some positive injury updates. We'll see. Mm-hmm. But this season, Penelope Bourbon is a proud partner of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and that's whether you're cheering at Benchmark International Arena or raising a glass at home. Penelope brings fans together. That's one glass, one pour, one moment, one win at a time. You can find us at Publix or right here in the arena. Go Bolts. And it looks like we're going toasted medium. This is their toasted series. I have not tried this one yet, so maybe we'll see after Bolts win tonight. But
well, I mean, if Penelope Bourbon wants to get in on a little Drinks with Binks, we should discuss.
Oh, okay.
Drinks with Binks at the rinks. What do you think, guys?
I like it. Well, John Cooper, I believe, was featured on Drinks with Binks, right?
Yeah.
At one point.
By the way, can I just tell one little thing about John Cooper on that?
Yes.
Well, we drank Crown Royal, which was not, nothing sponsored, blah, blah, blah. But he showed me a big bottle he'd had that he's like, this is what you get when you win the Stanley Cup. And it was like the biggest bottle I've ever seen in my entire life. But we played a great game because I like improv, as I've mentioned. And I actually want to find an improv either group to join in Tampa or improv to watch. So if anyone out there is into that type of thing, let me know. And then we played this game called Premise Lawyer, where it's like, because he was a lawyer, I just gave him stuff that he had to then defend. And he didn't even blink. Like, I'd be like, okay, Nickelback is the greatest band of all time. And then he had to defend like Nickelback is the greatest band of all time because he said because they were Canadian. And I said, that's not good enough of an answer. And so it was great. He rolled with the punches so well, never pushed back. Very different from now. No, I'm joking. But it was a different situation, and we were rocking out and having a good time. And after winning the Stanley Cup, you can get a lot out of people that you might not normally. So we will take that back to Drinks with Binks at some point. Maybe we'll get another in life John Cooper.
Well, hey,
that.
Penelope Bourbon, you heard that. You might have to get it on this this Drinks with Binks here, because it sounds like you get some good stories. And Penelope Bourbon is a good bourbon, so you might want to get in on that one. So that was a good story, Julie, and which it means you're gonna have to follow that up with a good plus. So, Julie, plus minus segment. What is your plus this week before we go talk to John Cooper?
Plus is being home, and I think that there
Finally.
is it's underrated being home in terms of like the road is exhausting. I said this on the broadcast Saturday night. Like I didn't even play in these games, and I missed this last road trip because I had to stay back here. But like I'm exhausted. I've also been living out of a suitcase, and I was like, these guys have been playing in games. It must be just gas. Like being home, just that like you can kind of like breathe and be comfortable, and then you have obviously an exciting week ahead of you. So that's my plus.
I like it.
What's yours?
My plus this week is going to be my family's in town. Coming up here in a couple days. They are coming for the Stadium Series. So my parents and my brother is actually going to come to Tampa for his first Lightning game since we both got to see our first NHL game together when we were like 10 and 11.
Wow. And what was that? Do you remember the game?
It was okay. I'm embarrassed to admit I don't remember the opponent, but it was here in Tampa.
Oh, okay.
We were on family vacation in Florida. Again, we grew up in Wisconsin, so it was freezing cold. We went on a family vacation in winter, came down to Florida, and stopped by the what was then Amalie Arena to see the Lightning play. And
love that.
Still have the free T-shirts somewhere, by the way. But my brother and I were both playing hockey, and we loved it. And the Lightning were my favorite team for a long time. They did get the boot eventually, unfortunately. But don't worry, guys. They're my favorite team again. Don't worry. But it's going to be cool to see my brother get to see an NHL game again. I do believe it's his first NHL game since then. But it's going to be really cool to have my family here again and have them get to experience the outdoor game.
Oh, that's fun.
And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to have them here and for them get to experience Lightning hockey. So I think they watch just about every single Lightning game all the way from Wisconsin. So they're big Lightning fans, and it'll be cool to get to see them experience it. So that's my plus.
Good for them.
So we'll see. Hopefully the Bolts bring home the W. Again, I can't believe it's already Stadium Series week. I don't know where all this time went, where with all this anticipation, and it's finally here. So
yes, we're also plus on the Stadium Series week, and also just side note, I am also plus on just getting ready for the Milan Olympics, as I have to do all this onboarding after I go to morning skate. I come back for like 5 hours before the game. So, but hey, champagne problems, right? Are we talking? I'm going to Milan in a week.
I like it.
Which means I'll still be able to do this podcast next Monday, but then I'll be getting on a flight to go to the Olympics.
All right,
what
Julie,
a statement.
quickly,
what a statement.
Quickly, your minus. I know you got to get over here to the arena to talk to Coop. So what is your minus this week?
The injuries. That's the minus. And that it's okay. Listen, I'm happy that it's cold for the Stadium Series, but I don't like when it's cold in Florida. It's just there's something odd about my body temperature regulating to cold in Florida. It doesn't work.
That's fair. See, I love
what about you
in Florida, so I'm gonna disagree there, but that's fine. My minus is probably just gonna be the wait until the Stadium Series game. Like now that it's here, like I want it today. You know, like I these next 6 days, I feel like are just gonna crawl by, and I want the Stadium Series to be tomorrow. So I think everybody feels the same way. Let's go. I think the excitement is officially full speed ahead. So bring
It's
on the
easy to
Stadium
look
Series,
past
guys.
Winnipeg coming into town. I can say
I
that
know.
because
I know the
was
guys are
there
going to
for
say
Jets
we've got business to
2.0.
take care of. I guarantee you we're going to talk to all the guys today, and they're going to say we've got business. We've got 2 games before then, but bring it on. Let's go, guys. It's Stadium Series week. We're all excited. Thank you guys so much for listening to another lengthy episode of Into the Blue presented by our friends at Penelope Bourbon. We appreciate
Again,
you
that's
guys
my fault,
so
guys.
much. No. We both were talking today.
No, I'm verbose. I'm verbose.
But the Tampa Bay Lightning will look to start another point streak this week. And congratulations, Tampa. You made it. It is officially Stadium Series week. Thank you, guys. We look forward to talking to you again next week. Go Bolts.